We live in a world today that is very different than when I came into it in the 60s. We live in a world where values have flipped upside down. The way people view things doesn't make sense. Not everybody, but a lot of people. I want to tell you a story. I want to talk about what I'm experiencing at work. I want to talk about an experience. I'm not here. There's a danger when I talk about things that people get offended at what I say. Freedom of speech is protected. I'm not a priest. I'm not going to blow somebody's name out there. But I talk about people that I know, people that I don't know. I make observations, okay? And I may step on some toes of people who are my regular viewers. How far are people willing to go when they say, I want to hear the truth? How far? I know a young woman who's on the system, uses drugs, uses a variety of prescription medications, and gets drunk on a daily basis. And it bothers me. She gets assistance for something that happened some time ago. In fact, I didn't know you could get assistance for that. And it's years later and it's still on the system. And her kickback to society is drinking and drinking and smoking and drinking and using a variety of stuff that I wouldn't use. And the parents let the boyfriend move in while they're paying for this. And the boyfriend doesn't have a job. And I'm just like, wow, it blows me away. And she had made a comment. I had said, man, it'd be easier to restore the Titanic than it would be to fix you. And I wasn't nasty. And she had told me that's kind of harsh, but my dad and my psychiatrist laughed and said, do you think he's speaking the truth? Because I think he is. She said that assessment was pretty harsh. Well, if it gets a fire under your butt to change your ways, then so be it. We're living in a day and age where we're not supposed to offend anybody, but watch what's happening. So I worked my butt off. I got a review. They gave me a 5, which is the highest. I have trained several black people, one white. Nobody's wired like me, and I always am aware of that. I cannot expect everybody to be just like me. I run at different RPMs. I want to shift that thing into 5th, and I want to get on the highway and I want to hear the turbo. That's the way I'm geared. I see something, I want to get it done. I'm like the hunting dog in Britain, waiting to be let loose to go after the fox. That's the way God wired me. And I've been struggling. Hired a guy, got a crime record, pulled a gun on somebody, shot somebody. Self-defense. Firearm wasn't registered, blah, blah, blah. Spent time in prison, Told me the other day his daughter brought a gun to his school in Atlanta. She's expelled. Told me a story how he paid to bail her out and she's being rude to him. He just got a job. He's been unemployed for some time, living with the sister or whatever. People are giving him a ride to work. And he started out nice. He started out humble. I started teaching him the same way I teach everybody else. Taught him how to use the lift, the scissors lift, taught him how to pull orders. And everything was going okay. He's very strong. The supervisor came to me and said he's a little slow. That's fine. And when I talk about this, there will always be somebody who will say, you're racist. I'm not. Pattern recognition is real. When I worked at transportation, I was a minority. Where I work now, it's more of a 50-50 even. Office staff and management, more so white. I think they got 2 ethnic women in the office and sales. But I noticed some of the usual things show up. We got an older guy there. He's just a few years older than me. Shorter. He's angry all the time. And I have been nothing but nice to him. I don't work with him. Sometimes I have to bring something to him, make a copy of it, because he has to pull it. And he had a newer SUV. I saw a tow truck come. They were sliding it up the tow truck. I said, hey, man, what happened here? Oh, it's got a knock in the engine. I said, that's under warranty. He goes, yep, you're going to have to pay for it. Supervisor came to me and said, he was out for a couple days. Said, oh, he's having problems. They don't want to honor the warranty. He didn't get his oil changed at the dealership where he bought it. And he says he just did it himself. And he said, if they don't have a sticker up there, that voids out the warranty. He came in after 2 days. I said, hey, how are things going with your vehicle? You don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. Bruh, I'm not worried. I said, dude, I'm just trying to be nice and care. Well, I understand that, but you don't need to worry about that. I'm not even going to worry about it. They're going to pay. How do you deal with people like that? And that's called a training session for me. It's like, don't talk to this person again. That is a mental problem. And I watched yesterday as my supervisor asked him the same thing. Oh, here's where it's at. Folks, I moved down here and I come down here with a heart. I'm not the majority here. I'm not the majority anywhere. To be honest with you, I'm different. I'm very different. I don't harm people. I just try to do a good job at my job. I don't want to kiss butt. That's not my style. A lot of people in management are just as problematic as we are. I would love to study navigation because life is about navigation. All of you watching me, consider yourself a ship. You're trying to navigate your ship through life. You got to watch out for all kinds of things, reefs, something floating in the water that could puncture your hull, storms, storm so bad that it could threaten to knock you off course. And I look at my life like a ship, and I'm like, I'm surrounded by U-boats on a daily basis. They got the periscope up. Here comes this beautiful ocean liner, and they're going, ha ha, look at that. When you're a Christian, you know the devil's just trying to devour you. I had a good day on Wednesday, only yesterday, to have it slapped out of my hand. So the new guy I'm training, let me tell you, he's big. He's very strong. His strength is impressive. He seemed like a gentle giant. Then I begin to see something take place. The Heckle and Jekyll thing. One thing I've noticed about the African American community that's different than us. Whites tend to be very fiercely independent. And it doesn't matter where I've worked. I've had white guys and gals look down their nose at me, put me down. I've never been part of the group, ever. There'll be a couple people that'll gravitate towards me, but I'm never part of the club, whatever the club is. I haven't felt it at any church I've gone to. This has been the hardest place I've lived. It has challenged me. I laid in bed last night. Yesterday, I came very close to saying, I'm just going to go home. I need a mental health break. I'll be in Monday. I came that close to quitting. How much does a man have to take? People say, oh, do you like your job? No, I don't. It's old-fashioned hard work. That doesn't bother me. But I've begun to see something. Pattern recognition. It's not a fun job. It's not intended to be. I'm not going to describe every detail, but it's a private company. And I pull product. Get a pick ticket, pull product, wrap it, pallet it, box it. Sometimes I have to call the salesman for specific instructions. Once I pull the parts, they have to look at them, determine if the customer is going to be satisfied. Lots of different things. So when they hired this guy to work with me as a trainee, first thing I taught him is, this is how you pull parts. This is how you read a ticket. I showed him how to use the scissors lift. He learned it very quick, and I said, man, you're doing good. Then he upped the octave. There's a pack table, like an island in a house, and a kitchen. And behind the back wall, there's another table, and there's parts and orders that are half completed. We go to pull it, and we find that the parts aren't there. So I call the sales guy. He comes down and looks, says, go ahead and put it back here. Guy said, what's all this back here? I said, we don't worry about that. That's waiting for parts. Well, we got to get rid of all of it. I said, no, we don't. Those are waiting for parts, and I handle that. What I want you to focus on right now is getting the smaller orders, the onesies and twosies, get a few packed. Don't fill the table with stuff. Keep control of this. He doesn't want to follow instructions. He wants to do his own thing. Then he'll come up and tell me what to do. I need you to pack this, and I need you to hold it. I'm busy doing a big order for the president. A big order. Big dollar sign. You can't be working on that. I said, that's the president. You go tell him that. But this takes priority. I said, go tell the president that. Now let me work on this. And I noticed this is what he's doing. I'm going to reenact this as best as I can. I'm walking. My mind is on this. I'm like, I got to pull this part. I got to get this. Hey, Mike. He'll pull the scissors lift right up. I said, hey, Don't get close to me with that thing. Be careful. You got to be safe. When I'm driving the forklift, he'll walk right alongside. Mike, I need you to stay away from the forklift. I don't want your feet to get hit. Will not follow instructions. It's gotten so bad. I went to the supervisor as well as one of the owners. I said, we got a problem back here. I'm not able to deal with this, and I need you guys to get involved. And I detailed it. And the owner says, I want you to learn how to find a way to where you guys can work together. I said, I've been doing everything I can, but it's not happening. He's not following my instructions. I'm not trying to be the boss. I told him this is the way we do things. Then he'll come up and say, well, the supervisor told me I could do this. He'll come up and hand me a ticket. And what you're supposed to do is circle the location of where you found it and initial next to it. He circles the word location at the top, puts his initials up there, and then he circles locations where he found it. And so yesterday I tried to tell him, I said, let's simplify this. I said, when I showed you, I said, when you pull something like 44D, circle 44D and put your initials next to it. Well, the supervisor, I said, you don't circle the word location. You circle what location you pull. You're being petty, man. Come on, man. We don't got time for this. I said, okay, but when you come up and tell me you're having a problem with the ticket, I see all the circles. I don't know what you're doing here. I'm trying to tell you the way to simplify it. I told you this in the beginning. Well, you got to go to so-and-so because he confirmed it. I said, I can do that, but can you do this? And I cannot do anything. And he's Heckle and Jekyll. Hey, Mike, I need you to, and he'll just throw the tickets. I said, hold on. I'm trying to get this stuff done. Well, Mike, how am I going to learn? I'm trying to learn, and you can't teach me. You need to teach me, and you need to teach me. Every freaking day. Yesterday, I had enough. I'm busy banding a pallet of stuff because they're adding more stuff to me. I need you to, when you get these pallets done, band them, weigh them, give me dims and weights. Dims is dimensions, 40 by 48 by 20 high, 154 pounds. We ship overseas. I have to tell where it's made. Taiwan, USA, China, whatever. I have to state that. Overseas stuff has to wait for licenses, permits. And I haven't taught him that stuff because I'm trying to get him to get the basics down. I told him, when you see something with a foreign address for shipping, 2, you need to weigh 1 of each individual item and write it next to the item on the ticket. He boxed something up, shipper's office. I said, what's going on with this? I need weights and dims. So I wrote on the ticket, weights and dims. So he taped the box back up, walked over the scale, weighed the whole box. I thought, I'm not touching this. The shipper guy said, no, you need to open that up and you need to weigh 1 of each item. Yesterday, I was working on palletizing stuff. He comes over and he goes, Mike, I need you to pull this. You need to pull these. I said, okay. Can you see I'm doing something? I said, can you hand me the tickets? No, I'm going to walk them and put them down. I said, can you please hand them to me? And he started walking. I said, can you please hand me the tickets? I said, why are you being so rude? Now, this is what I'm talking about. You need to show respect. You're not using your manners, and I'm getting tired of this. I'm 60 years old. You're 35. Do you know what it means to respect people that are older? I'm not being rude. I said, you are, and I'm tired of this every day. And what does he do? He goes with his ethnic, and they sit there and and then he confronted my supervisor yesterday saying, I'm getting tired of everybody calling on us. Everybody need to be grown men. And I want to say, like you. And I have formed an opinion over the years that this group of people does not submit to us at all. They've got it in their system. Everything's based on color with them. Talk to one of my moderators. He goes through the same exact thing, and he's 2 hours north of me. Same thing. They stand outside when it's not break time smoking a blunt. He walked out and he said, you guys can put your blunt out and get back to work. Oh, the white guy, he think he can be the boss man. I find it interesting that this culture, as evidenced by my last job, I can't say anything in the privacy of my own house. If they're offended that they think it's racist, they're trying to get me in trouble. We're living in an evil world, people. I don't use the N-word. We had a black woman that I was training. I thought she was attractive. She didn't make it 3 days and they fired her. I thought they should have worked with her more. I trained another black guy. He's still there. He's a good worker. I told him, I said, if I had a company, I'd hire you in a minute. Our speech is being censored, and I'm sick of it. I'm still angry about what transportation did. Now they've got a black principal who's about to fall. It's funny, they won't say what it is, but they said they've got counselors for the students. I'm thinking, oh, we got some sexual allegations or something. And there were people telling me stories of transportation about the director, not the current one, but 1 years ago, a black guy. He came into the big assembly room. And he had another female black employee on the table, and he was doing her. I said, did you turn that in? He goes, no. They ain't going to do anything about it. He told me stories of the favoritism and the racial discrimination that goes on. This is the South. They get away with that down here. That's fact. Bad employees are still employed over there. People call me and tell me. They can do whatever they want. And I have tried. This guy will not leave me alone. He's been told. He was told by the guy in receiving who he was talking about, this white guy in receiving, but then he's getting rides home every day. I'm thinking, man, you're a grown man. You're close enough you can walk. I didn't say that. He came up and asked money. I said, driver carries no money. He asked me one day if I'd give him a ride. I said, that's out of my way. No, I'm not going to give him a ride. No way am I going to give him a ride. I don't feel comfortable being close to people that are doing me like that. And this job is hard. Once that 5 o'clock bell hits, I'm done. I'm done. I've given my all to this place. I'm going home, and it's me time. He was told numerous times to leave the stuff. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike. And he does that. I said, what? Just listen. I need you to listen. I said, will you stop? Man, I got something to do. Stop telling me what to do. What do you need? I blew yesterday. What about this? I said, I don't know anything about that. And he's fumbling with the stuff on the back. I told him to leave it alone. And I told management he wants to take over. He doesn't follow instructions. But now I'm going to say something. You guys can get back to me on this. I'm telling the truth. I don't make this up. The supervisor tells me things that are personal about others. He came to me and said, I'm thinking about giving this guy a high mark. I said, you've complained to me about him. Yeah, but he does do a lot of work and I don't want him to quit. So now I've learned what motivates somebody to get a high score. Then he told me about the guy in the shipping office. He says, I'm going to let him go. He's just not cutting it. He's on a 60-day probation. I gave him a review, and he's supposed to be the boss over you guys and solve this. I said, how's he going to solve the problem when I'm trying to train somebody? I don't expect him to do that. I said, part of this is a personality conflict. Part of this is He wants to come in and take over. Been unemployed. He likes to brag that he did security in Atlanta with the big shots. Well, that's all well and good, but this is the warehouse and you're being trained and you don't get to just rule over everybody. So I finally went to management and I said, I'll tell you what, the way this is working, you're going to have to put one or the other of us on there because the two of us there, it's not going to work. He wants to be in charge of the show, then let him be in charge of the show and you guys can deal with the fallout. And I already know for a fact the president and some of the people that have me working on their orders are going to go, why is Mike not back here? So Monday, they're going to send me to another department with a white guy. I like him, but he gets very, 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 very aggravated. He doesn't want to work with people. He wants to be alone. Every time I come out the bay door, he's back there smoking in the back 40. And he wants to make me the manager over him. I said, he's been here 12 years and you're going to put me as manager? I said, that ain't going to go well. Mike, when I started here, he trained me and I'm over him. I said, well, and I wanted to say, why are you removing me from where I'm good to accommodate this guy? He's not smooth like I am. He doesn't do the volume I am. And this is what he told me. Mike, we don't want a lawsuit. I said, what can he sue for? All you have to do is come and say, when Mike tells you to do something, stop hassling him, stop arguing with him, or I'm going to let you go. Because that's insubordination. And the supervisor will tell me, Monday things are going to be shook up. I said, so you removing me to punish me? He goes, no, I'm not. I need you to clean up back there. I said, you know what? This is just putting me in a bad situation. It's going to make things sour with him, who's been there 12 years. Y'all want to tell me, my viewers that are solid, you want to tell me how to navigate waters like that? I don't want to be over people. How's that for an honest confession? How about if you give me a job to do and keep these nitwits away from me and let me shine? Let me shift that baby into fifth gear and rock for the company. Say, Mike works solo because we don't need him interacting with other people that are going to thwart him. Why can't you be the boss man and say, you know what? I've watched Mike train several other people without a problem, and he's coming to me. Stop arguing with him when he tells you to do something. I had not even a quarter of the end of the pack table. He goes and shoves it. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm working on it. I need this stuff out of the way. I said, no, you don't. Man, I gave you 75% of the table. Now this stuff over here, leave it. And I put some and I slammed it down. I said, this is where I draw the line. This is why in our society, and this is not race, this is why the two races don't work well together. You have a race that's been taught that we're racist. You have a race that's been taught that you ain't going to submit to the white dog. I don't see myself as the white dog. I don't want to be in control of him. I don't even want to deal with him. He even asked me, should I fire him? I said, no, I think you need to find where he's going to best fit. He's a one-task person. Don't put him over people. Put him on some that he can shine at. Deep inside, get this son of a bee out of here. But I said, no, find his strength and put him there. Why are you going to put somebody with me that's interrupting my flow? You've seen, why would you do that? Last night I laid in bed. I turned over on my left. I turned over my right. I came that close saying, I'm not going to be in today. Mike, you all right? No, I'm not. I'll be in on Monday. How do you deal with this kind of a workplace? Is this toxic? I think it is. I have been nice to this guy. I have respected him as much as I can. Now I have zero. When I talk to one of my moderators, he has said harsh things at his workplace. I'm not against him for that. I told him, be careful. Me, I can't even do that. If I was to go in there with some of the things, my friend is citizen, I'd be fired. Is my supervisor incompetent? I don't think he's incompetent, but I don't think he's developed enough to be a man of steel and say, you know what, I'm gonna fall in the. But he's playing victim to the current age we're living in. He said the problem is they see me and you, two white guys, talking about it. They think it's against them. I said, but that's the problem, sir. This isn't a race issue. He needs to understand. This is what I see in the news. Cops pull over a black person. I need you to put your hands up. And then they're going to do exactly the opposite. And that's what this guy does. I saw it on the bus. I need you to sit down. And they will stand there and stare. And I'll stop the bus and I'll pull the brake. But man, why are you stopping? You want to tell your friend to sit down? I can't roll legally with him. Man, we stand up all the time on these buses. The other drivers don't give a shit. Well, I'm not one of them. I got to follow the rules. That's DOT law. And if a cop pulls me over for a kid standing up, dude, all you got to do is follow the rules. That's the problem. And I said this years ago. My opinion, based on observation year after year, very hard to get African American people to comply with the rules of society in general. That is not a racist statement. That's an observation of pattern recognition. You see it with these cases that go bad. You see it with these protests, and forget the black element. This is a liberal problem. You got a nurse. Everybody's going, he's a nurse. He's an ICU nurse. Did you see him kick the taillight of an ICE vehicle going away? Kicked it so hard he knocked the whole thing out. Saying, F you, and spitting. Oh, an ICU nurse, huh? Did you see the teen girl they showed that was also a nurse? Democrats didn't protest that, did they? I don't care what this world says. We live in a contrary, jacked up society that is catering those that are causing problems. We have to walk on eggshells. We have to do a dance. And I'm tired of it. I have no escape hatch. I don't. White people today are being dogged, especially if you're a Christian and you're a conservative. And what really bothers me about this guy, he says he reads his Bible every day and then he's out back rolling a blunt, asking people for money. And then he's got a cigarette dragging. And then he disappears. Mike, I need you to do this. Man, I've been busy on this. Where have you been? And I don't say that. This is harassment. If you want me to train this guy, then you should be backing me up, boss man. I have respected you. I have never disrespected you, but I need you to be a leader. And what he's doing is enabling this guy to keep on course. He came to me the other day, and the guy that he begged to get a ride with, he said, man, he's videoing me. I said, what? Yeah, he had his phone up. I'm tired of that. Well, tell the supervisor. I looked over there. I'm like, is he really doing that? But I told him, go tell the supervisor. Now, I went to the supervisor. I said, did he talk to you? He said, so-and-so back in receiving is video recording him. He goes, he told me that. No, that wasn't happening. Yeah, well, you know what? And then that guy came to me. I said, were you, there were 8 people who called one day. The supervisor said, I got 8 calls when I was out about you two bickering. I said, yep. We went to this other warehouse and he's standing there arguing with me when I'm trying to say, this is how we're going to do it. And then he wants to stop and waste 10 minutes of this big, long discussion when we got so much stuff to do. And he does this every minute of every day. Yesterday, I'm trying to explain. I said, I don't want to listen anymore. You're being rude to me. I've addressed it. You're not showing manners. I need to get down that aisle. He waits until I do something. I've got a pallet in an aisle that nobody goes down. I stage stuff out of the way when I'm working on the big orders. He'll pull up right up on me with the scissors lift. I need to get down there. No please, no thank you, no manners. So, well, you're going to have to wait a minute. I'm trying to band this up. Mike, I need to get down there now. I'm trying to do my job. Son of a bitch. You really are a problem child, aren't you? No, I didn't say that. I get the floor jack, pull it out of there. There you go. Then he goes the opposite way, doesn't even go down the aisle. I said, you know what? Why is he doing this crap when nobody's around to see it? And there's no cameras in this place. We all need to invest in a body cam at our jobs. Anybody, let's see those lights go up. Maybe we should all have body cams on our jobs, just like the police do. Walk in, pull it out, say, supervisor, I want you to see this last interaction. Thank you. I see a light. Don't you think we should have body cams in our workplaces? Any of you feel that? Any of you seen stuff that's not getting dealt with? And if you had a body cam, boy, it'd be damning evidence. That's 2 more likes. Thank you. Yeah. I'm not making this up. I had a problem with the guy in receiving. He was talking down to me. He has totally changed his tune. There were 6 different people complained on him. He's been nice, and I said, thank you for helping me. Now he's much better. So now I don't have a problem with him. Now I got a problem with the trainer or the trainee. I've been very nice to him. Today is the last day I got to work alongside him. Part of me wanted to just play hooky and say, you know what, I don't even want to deal with this clown today. Part of me wanted to go over to the supervisor and go straight to the president and say, why am I being moved when I'm highly productive over there and this guy's being a buttosaurus? And today I take the stance, let yourself be moved. Go work with the other guy. Supervisor told me, I said, was he mad that you? No. He knows you work. I said, but he gets frustrated. He said, you learn what he's doing, and I want you to start getting on him to up the ante. I said, well, he's been there 12 years. You're going to have to coach me on that because you know what? I'm not interested in supplanting somebody who's been there and has a wealth of knowledge. I'm not comfortable with that. And any idiot that leaves troll comments, I'll just hide you off the channel. This is real deal. And this is for real men and real women that deal with this kind of stuff. This isn't for little babies and skid marks on the internet that just got to say rude stuff. Somebody said, what's this world coming to? A man wearing a dress doing dishes in the kitchen. I said, oh my gosh, have you watched the news, buddy? I don't dress this way at work. Trust me, if they all knew, they would be like, what? H-E double hoggy steaks. I don't care. Is anybody getting a feel for the world I live in over here? Do you think I care what some people think when their work ethic and their inability to follow directives? And man, I don't want to be over you. I want you to work with me. I want us to make this shipping shine. And you want to compete and you want to just bowl over me and run over me and no matters. Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. Can I get down that? Sure, no problem. You need to do this. No, I don't need to do a damn thing, Capisco. I need to do what I'm told to do. You can take those papers and shove them up your butt cheeks if you think you're going to talk to me that way. I don't care if you're 310 pounds and 6'8". I'm not afraid of you. You're being an ass. I cannot believe where God has finally got me to no longer be afraid. Where I'm just like, but why is management doing this dance? Why do they do it at my friend's job up in South Carolina? Why are they doing this anywhere? The power of a lawsuit, that's why. And that's what's happening. Those of us that are good workers, those of us that put in 110%, we got to take it in the shorts. That's reality. And people will say that it's racist that I say what I say. No, it isn't. It's called making an observation. Do you know that's what science, true definition of science is? Conducting a test in a controlled environment, observing the data. Well, I conduct a test in an uncontrolled environment. I watch, and I watch, and I listen, and I watch. And people don't realize I'm not staring at people, but my peripheral's good. I pay attention to what's going on around me. And the receiving guy who was being a first-class bung, who's changed, he said, I said, did you call? Because supervisor said 8 people called. Well, yeah, it's demoralizing, you guys bickering. I said, do you know why that's going on? I'm trying to tell him what to do, and he wants to argue every step of the way. Well, that's funny. You've come in not being employed, and you're going to be the pack table king, okay? And you're not doing it right. You're boxing stuff up wrong. I taught him how to cut down a box. You score the inside. You use the ruler, and you fold it in. Oh no, he did the outside of the box, bent it back, bent it forward, and it broke, and he taped the whole mess together. I thought, let him do it. Let the shipping clerk say, what's this? Does exactly opposite. Constantly shoves something I'm working on, shoves it aside. We need to get this table clear. I said, you know what? I'm working on this stuff. I don't touch your stuff. Leave these things alone. They're all the way over here. And I'm like, you know what? Guy wants to be the top dog, wants to be the control freak. Then he'll sit down on the back counter when I'm busy working. The black girl that I trained did that. I said, don't let him see you sitting. Don't let him see him pulling out your phone. She got herself fired. She sat in front of the owner. The president was in there. And my supervisor, and she sat 10 minutes before punch out, and they said, what are you doing? It's almost time to quit. And I noticed that. They think the last 10 minutes is free time. She was there 3 days and they let her go. Another black guy said, what happened to her? I said, well, he said, well, they didn't even try to work with her. I said, I liked her and she was good at it, but yeah, she was doing a couple things. And I told her, don't sit around. Grab a broom, sweep up something, do something. I don't want to be over people. When I get on a big, giant forklift, and I watched one of the guys driving the big forklift yesterday. He didn't see me. I was pulling product out of a semi-trailer, and I saw him go down the dirt road, abusing the equipment, driving fast. He's got his hands in the air going like this. The lift is bouncing. I'm like, yeah, this is Augusta. world of clowns. They flaunt the rules. They do what they want. I don't do that. I do respectfully what I do every day. Why do we live in such an upside down America? And these women and these men, they call me names, and people questioning me on Alex Preddy. Did you see the video, people, on the 13th of January of him yelling and cussing and spitting at an ICE agent? They're driving away. And he goes and kicks the back taillight on an expensive SUV, government tax dollars. I'm sick and tired of a world of liberals that sit there. There's no justification for a shooting. You people on the left have caused violent crime to go to the highest levels ever, and you don't say a word about that. You didn't care about Ashley Babbitt. You didn't care about Charlie Kirk. You didn't call for gun control then. You didn't call for gun control when several assassination attempts were brought out on Trump. I'll tell you what, if America didn't have my voice and millions of others like me, this country would go down the shitter so fast that the pipes would explode for the amount of crap going down it. Why are we exalting people that break the rules? Why are we making heroes out of clowns? Why are we putting people in position that didn't earn it just because of the color of their skin? We're doing the very thing that whites were doing back in the day. Why are we doing this again? Now I'm beginning to understand maybe why it seems like there's a caste system. I'm intellectual. I'm not perfect. If I was a boss, I would have said, you know what? Your insubordination has gotten on my nerves. You're not a fit for this. You don't get to tell everybody how you're going to do things and then argue with a trainer. Go. I'm done. Leave. And I noticed our place. It appears that management doesn't care about the struggle with us. They make money. They make good money. They make real good money. I see the costs. I see the stuff on the ticket. I cannot believe how much the parts industry is rapage in America. It is ungodly. Rapage. A dash assembly, the same kind that goes in a Thomas or an International school bus, the gauge cluster. 2 of those, $5,500. Price paid, less than $1,000. This is one. They hire people that have a criminal record. They have a Christian stance, trying to show the grace of God, which I support that. But there's a factor that nobody wants to talk about. Caucasians are being beat up on. People like me. I do not have privilege at all. I do not. And I see this again. I'm a good worker. And they're going to move me around. And the supervisor says, you're not punished at all. I said, so who's going to work alongside him? Because he can't do all that. He goes, I'm going to have to do it. I said, well, have fun with that. Wait till you see all the mistakes. Wait till he tries to tell you what to do. How long are you going to talk? Nobody can tell me what to do. I said, oh, well, get ready. If he did it to me, he's going to do it to you. Today, I tell myself, go with the flow. Today, don't even say a word. Watch what that does. He'll blow up and get mad about that. Say, man, I didn't say a word today because yesterday he was so rude and so nasty. I'm done. He needs to ask a question. He can go to you. I only got to work here today. Let me get my shit done. He doesn't need to talk to me about nothing. Not anything. Don't tell me to pull this. Don't just set down the ones you're not going to do. I'll look them over and I'll take care of it when I can. The problem here is not just him, but it's the management. I'm not leadership material. Maybe I am. Because I'm going to say something. I've noticed people that want to be in power are not good leaders. People who don't want to be in power are good leaders. And maybe God's preparing me for that. I don't want to be over people. The older I get, I want a job. I wish I could be somewhere remote. Give me my internet so I can still have my social life. I wish I could be somewhere. I'm alone now. I'm in a city of 200,000. I'm alone. There's nobody to come over and hug me. There's nobody to hold my hand when I need it. There's nobody's shoulder for me to cry. And I laid there in bed. I said, wow, God, I am so alone in this fooked up Augusta. People say, why don't you just up, quit, and move? No, I ain't doing that. God is obviously putting me through hell for a reason. I don't know why. And I sat there, I said, God, just the day before I was saying, you care for me. Today I'm questioning it again. Why am I going through this? Over and over, and it's getting worse. And then people leaving my channel, people saying, you changed. I didn't change. I'm nice to people, but folks, I'm not going to mention your name unless you really put yourself out there on my channel. But I'm going to talk about situations. I'm going to talk about life. Just because I have a conversation with somebody, I'm getting a little tired of people being on the system and can do drugs all day and get drunk. And then I say, man, you need to quit all that. Go get a job. And then mom and dad let a boyfriend who's jobless move on in. Oh my gosh. Our whole society coddles the bad people, coddles the people. And in me, I finally got it. You work hard, you're a good citizen. That's bad. Look at these people that get in and out of jail. They got smokes and they got this and they don't live under the bridge and everything just works out for them, even though their life is a freaking train wreck off the Grand Canyon. How does that work? I see this in Augusta, losers, but they got it going on and they get around their parents. Hey, man, what up, man? Hey, Shock, what's going on, Shock? They're all calling him Shock. We are living in a time where the righteous are suffering, man. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The owners and the president are removed from this. They work there, but they're in their office. They would not take this, but they don't care that it's happening to me. Why is that? I'm waiting when the sales guys go, Mike, did you get my order done? No, they moved me back here. Why? Ask them. I'm hoping that this guy will finally get walking papers and then The supervisor, Mike, I need you back here. I was wondering when that's going to happen. We got lazy people there. They don't put in an honest day's work. It's very dysfunctional. And it made me realize you're in a job, Michael, that people aren't fighting to have. You're in a job that has a huge turnover. You're in a job where people quit or get fired. This is old-fashioned hard work, and people aren't fighting to have this. Most people I work with smoke, do dope, get drunk. It's a better built aluminum job. The women that don't wear bras and don't shave their armpits job that I had in the 80s in Prescott, Arizona. The line leaders were nasty. They were the B word. Mike, I need carts now. Jeannie, the warehouse has got them all tied up. I'll bring them to you as soon as I get them. These women were just, this was in the 80s. There was one black guy, one Asian, and one Mexican in the whole plant. And I worked with the black guy. He and I were draft horses. He had his head shaved. He'd look at me. We'd be racing down the aisle pulling carts. And he drew a thing with my name, Nelson, and he had it tilted this way. And he had this forehead with the hair going straight back and put Nelsonic. I said, that's awesome. Victor and I, there was none of this racial bullcrap. He and I were hunting dogs, going for the hunt. He said, you notice when we come down the aisle, everybody jumps out of the way? I said, that's the way it needs to be. Product coming through, step aside. That was rare. Victor was a Christian, and though we didn't agree eye to eye on everything, we worked together like a hand in a glove. Victor was funny. He got on the intercom and talked in a woman's voice. Ron Christensen, exception 250, Ron Christensen. So I did it one day. We both got called. Ron says, that's really embarrassing. Can you stop doing that? I said, sorry, boss. Victor's my mentor. I am not racist, but I'm getting tired of them putting a race over everybody else, talking about the victim and how much they went through, and now they're shitting on us and they're being rude to us and they're saying everything we say is racist. I lost my job because some asshole at transportation didn't like me. That's what it boils down to. And the same crap goes on. People are still telling me about how bad it is. I said, of course. If I was in charge, I wouldn't put up with this stuff. You're speeding in the bus, you're dressing down a black woman supervisor, cussing her out. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. Get out. You're in the shop threatening and intimidating people. Goodbye. Hostile work environment. We're not having that here. Where are the men with a pair of balls? Why are whites just laying down like a sheep and putting their legs in the air with wolves on the cliff waiting to sink their fangs into the belly of us? Congratulations. We're the only people in the world that will allow us to be destroyed by everybody else. Cite letter E for England, letter F for France, letter G for parts of Germany. Next to fall, USA. Multiculturalism. I don't like the word anymore because it's been shoved in our face. And there is a mentality with many African Americans that they're way more important than us. We're nothing. You see it. You see it all around. Are they not being discriminatory? Are they not being racist? Of course they are. You come into a job, you've been in jail, I'm trying to humbly teach you, and you started out okay. Now you're feeling comfortable to be an ass. And then what caps it off and makes it worse is when my supervisor is coming to me saying, I know what's going on. But then when he'll start arguing with me, then when the guy starts arguing with me, he'll come up, I need you two to get along. I said, man, I'm doing everything I can. You see what's going on. Why don't you call it out the way it is? Man, why are you giving him a hard time? We gave you a job here. A lot of people aren't going to hire you with your record. Why are you doing this to him? He's my best worker. Listen to him and stop. He says, don't move this, don't move this. He says, leave that stuff alone, leave it alone. If you want me to be a manager, man, I don't want to be one with your kind of leadership. No. Body cams, man. If I was to play what this guy did, you'd see it. You got video of Alex. And all you hear over and over, he didn't deserve to die. He didn't deserve to die. Did you see Elizabeth Warren the other day? What a clown! She said she was a Native American. What are we role-playing here? He was such a man of compassion. She's giving a eulogy to Alex. Did you see the video? Fuck you! Chasing the SUV, kicking it. Oh, yeah. You want that guy working on you in the hospital? Why is it that we got a group of people in our society that thinks it's okay for them to be assholes, vandalize, tear up things, disrespect, impede law enforcement, do what they do, and then they're going to sit there and analyze with a microscope every wrong thing that ICE did? How do we have people that mentally ill in our society and they're allowed to vote and drive a car and buy a firearm? You want gun control, take them away from the Democrats. Problem solved. Crime goes down. You might need to have a psychological evaluation before you can own a gun. I'd be all for that. It's funny. They're making a hero out of a clown. You think I care what people think about the way I dress? I don't give a crap. I'm not the one that's fucking up society. I'm not a principal with allegations. I didn't get fired for any legitimate reason from Richmond County Transportation. Not any legitimate reason. That was virtue signaling. My friend in New England said it. I sent a copy of the superintendent's diatribe against me, and they all said, you got to be kidding. I sent it to a school teacher in Zambia, Africa. I said, look at this. She messaged me back. She goes, this is ridiculous. You're not racist. So this is what we put at the helm of our institutions. A feminist, hateful woman. She don't care if a white guy falls. It's open season on white males. It's open season on men. It's open season on Christians, a.k.a. Charlie Kirk. You got YouTube channels out there right now rejoicing that he was killed. I will ban anybody off my channel that thinks that that was a good thing. If people want to defend Alex. When I was a kid, in this screwed up 60s culture, drugs, sex, rock and roll, question authority, Vietnam, the civil rights, I was born in the worst time in American history. And those hippies became judges. Scary. All these people on welfare smoking pot, paying more for the rims and the stereo than the car. The heck is wrong with our culture? Enabling and coddling in the workplace, in welfare. You want to do a study, read about the history of Cabrini Green in Chicago. Read it. Read about how wonderful welfare works. It became Beirut. You had a lesbian black mayor of Chicago before the clown that's in there now. Black on black violence when she was in there went shaboom to the highest levels ever. Barack Obama, while he was president, black on black violence went to highest levels ever. Biden got in office, black on black violence went through the roof. The Democrat Party care about the blacks? No, they don't. They're using them. Workplaces are being forced to hire them no matter what. DEI hire is a reality. F qualifications, F work ethic. And even a Christian company owned by Christians is falling victim because they don't want a lawsuit. And I laid in bed and my mind actually completed the circle. You're working in a very toxic, shitty place. Congratulations. So what's the remedy? One day at a time, sweet Jesus. Put one foot in front of the other, bro. That's it. We're living in a day and age where people like me are no longer sought after. I applied at a employment agency here in town. They told me they'd get back to me within a week. Never did. I said to, and our company uses that. I said, I put in an ad. They didn't call me ever. I said, do you know what they're doing, supervisor? I said, they're only sending a certain ethnicity through. He looked at me and he went like this, duh. He said, I'm a liberal. I'm what's considered woke, but I see what's going on. They're downing our culture. They're downing us, and they're putting them at the top of the heap. And it ain't right. I didn't make that up. When the wicked rule, the righteous groan. Trump gave the microphone to Nicki Minaj the other day. Boy, do I have mixed feelings on that one. These scumbags will get on my channel and comment on the clothing I'm wearing. What is wrong with America? And some of those people listen to her kind of music. Have you heard her music? It's really awful. It's really offensive. It's really profane. I don't respect Nikki. Supposedly, she's a Trump supporter. She's made millions of dollars on pure filth. What am I doing wrong? Should I be a male prostitute for the gay community? Is that how I can make my millions? Do you notice something? Drug dealers, politicians, they're all the same. They make the big money. They get away with murder and more. The way of the righteous is extremely hard. When you lay in bed and I can't get to sleep. I worry over situations. I'm diving in too deep. I think about the implications, especially at night. I worry over situations that I wish they would be all right. It's just overkill. Good song by Men at Work. It's amazing how many songs I listened to in the 80s that have more meaning now. They were almost prophetic. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. How does a white Christian conservative man walk in a contrary universe without stumbling? How do I navigate an ocean liner in the Great Barrier Reef? You can't. You're not made to navigate in those waters. Putting employees with employees that are dumber down than you are and fucking with you is not good management. I didn't go as far as to say, get his ass out of here. If I had management power, I'd tell him, you are done because you're arguing with me. I'm a 59-year-old man, number one. Number two, I'm over you. You're not following directives. You're done. That's it. It's funny, we're in a right to work state. They can fire people at will, but they don't. They'll fire good people before bad people because bad people get attorneys. Tell me that the legal system in America hasn't been hijacked by Democrats. My attorney, when I had an attorney years ago on a case, he told me the bulk majority of the attorneys are Democrats, Michael. That's when the light bulb turned on. Our system has been hijacked by leftists in every conceivable way. I don't want to get into all this. I was offended when a woman who was nice to me said, I used to come to your channel, but you've changed. How have I changed, lady? I haven't changed. I'm standing on the convictions I've had for years. Why now are you offended? And that's what's happening. If I was to smoke pot, drink a little beer, go down and shag it up with women downtown, okay, I'm cool. Oh my gosh, you talk about how come you don't have a girlfriend? It's a damn good question. How come there's so many women today that don't meet basic qualifications? Can't be a drinker, can't be a smoker, can't do drugs. That eliminates 85% of Augusta women. The other 15%, worshiping their dogs, in debt, bratty acting children, want a man to be their life preserver. You wonder why I don't have a date? There you go. They're not interested in me anyway, except the ones that want me to bail them out of their problems. Shoot, I'm watching 60-year-old women. They can't stop doing this. You're going to go on a date with somebody who's going to look at their cell phone. Okay, that sounds like a great evening. I watched a couple. Handsome guy, pretty woman. They're eating dinner at a nice restaurant. I was with Tina. I said, look over there. She was, I was noticing that. I said, what a romantic dinner. Eat another bite. Scroll down tonight. Take another bite. Scroll down tonight. Yesterday, my supervisor told me about the change coming on Monday. I said, did you talk to him? He goes, yep. So I went back to the pack table, and all of a sudden, this guy's walking around. I don't know what he was humming, but it was awful. And he's, and just, I thought, yep, I knew it. This is exactly what he wanted. Knock the white guy out of the picture. Now he's all happy. he could play boss on Monday. He wanted me to be in the freight office. Now he's going to put another black guy in it. That guy I believe in. I said, well, he'll be good. He's good on the computer and he's a good worker. So what he's doing is he's cordoning off areas. The blacks can be together here, the whites. So much for integration. Why are we doing this? The workplace standards are the same for all of us. Why is it in the 80s I worked with Victor Smith, who was from New York City, who I still remember his funny stories about the crap he and his brothers did to each other to prank. But he and I worked well together. We weren't talking about this. The 80s was different. I liked Victor as a brother in Christ. We were the warehouse pullers. We were a team inseparable. A white guy and a black guy, we were unstoppable. I come out here to the South, it's like, shit, I got to turn off the turbo. I can't groove in this society at all. And you wonder why I do this stuff? I'm bored. I'm alone. I'm weird. Haven't you seen the isolation experiments they've done? You don't get touch. You don't get validation. And now we're being beat up in this society. Doesn't make sense, does it? Do you know how many people live their lives in this country? Nobody gives a crap about them. You get your paycheck, and it's less and less because the government's taking more and more. And you got Elizabeth Warren making way too much damn money, eulogizing a clown. Did you see the video? Nobody wants to talk about that one. This wasn't a case he was walking from ICU, saw a woman got pushed down and showed compassion. No, he had been going to the protest, yelling and screaming. And after he got tackled to the ground, everybody's like, yeah, I'm good. And he's back at it again with a gun right in the back here that apparently the ICE agents didn't see. The depths that liberals will go to defend unrighteousness and make a hero out of a clown is just beyond disgusting. You know, when I took algebra, Mr. McCarthy was my teacher. I couldn't get algebra. My brain is not constructed that way. I'm a concrete thinker, and algebra is not concrete math. It isn't. It makes no sense to me. X squared plus Y squared equals, I don't freaking care squared. It has no use to me. When I work on this house, there are problems. And I have always gotten frustrated because I never had anybody hold my hand and walk me through it. I didn't have that loving family. I didn't have a dad who taught me how to run wood shop or anything. Michael taught himself, no thanks to my folks. And I said out loud, people heard me at work. I said, where did I go wrong? Where did I fail that I ended up doing this for a living? Where did I fail? I'm working with ex-convicts, pot smokers, people that think they're superior to our race. He was bashing Trump the other day. I almost turned around and said, don't talk about my president. I said, hey, we're not supposed to discuss politics in here. You want to talk about Trump? And your daughter brought a gun to an Atlanta school the other day. I think you got to get your priorities straight and not worry about Washington right now. Pops. I'm sorry. I have been burned by the black community here. burned good, scarred. And if I do move again by the grace of God, I'm going to make sure that they're not in the majority where I go. I don't want to deal with it anymore because it can't be dealt with. And I've watched white people, the way they survive down here is they just they don't talk about it. Bullying has been done to the Caucasian race through the media, through the school system. It's going on at my workplace. It's toxicity. I wish I could live on no income. Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't it be fun if I had $1 million dumped into my bank account where I could just say, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Wouldn't it be nice? That you got to live in a world where you got to beg to get a shitty job? That you gotta compete now against DEI, and the first thing they see is a white guy, and they're like, up, back of the list. That's discrimination. So if the black community becomes the majority in this country, are they going to show affirmative action for us whites? I bet you $1 million they will not do it. If the Muslims get control, they're going to be support the freedom of religion for Christians and everybody else who disagrees with them? Are you freaking serious? No, they're not. What we're doing is we're setting up our USA for open persecution and hostility and hatred and bloodshed of us. I'm watching it happen before my very eyes. They'll steal our homes. They'll steal everything we worked hard for if they keep allowing this to happen. That's my belief. You know what the supervisor told me yesterday? This is what he told me. He says, you realize you own a home. Yeah, I've worked my butt off for it. Most of these guys will never own a home. I said, whose fault is that? He goes, well, I'm not going to get into that, but I try to show these people compassion. Showing compassion to people that break the laws, hate on our race, going to come into a workplace, should be humble. I don't understand that. So I'm supposed to feel white guilt because I own a house. Do you know what I paid for this house? It'd shock you. This place was a wreck. I had to spend 5 years sweating, cutting myself, cussing, struggling to do what I did. And you know what my reward is? You think I could find a wife that's harmonious with me where we are just like this? I can't do it. I don't want kids, so I don't want one with little kids. I have zero tolerance for drugs. So if you smoke pot, cigarettes, and drink regularly, no need apply. Your dog's more important than me, move on. I feel like, I said, God, I do feel like the last dinosaur. That I'm a dinosaur surviving against the odds, and it's just a matter of time before I go extinct. And I laid in bed last night. I said, wow, God, talk about feeling tiny. I don't have a phone call I can make to anybody. That got me. And what I mean by that is I have to do it myself. But we got society working against that. You can lose your job if you offend the DEI. You didn't do anything wrong, but somebody doesn't like your view. Look at the show The View. Can you believe that trash is still on the TV? Look at how much those women get paid. It's criminal. They don't even dress nice. I wonder how much they pay for the pounds of makeup they pancake on their face every day. I'm sorry, I'm offended that people like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar are got it living easy on a screen set, and I got to work hard and be treated like shit as my reward for putting my company first and trying to get as much done. What is wrong with our society? I'm not making this up. When Elizabeth Warren is eulogizing a clown show, I don't give a shit about Alex Preddy. I don't care. Why should I? FAFO. Did anybody care that I got fired at transportation? That was stupid. Not one person went into that office and said that I was discriminating against them in 6 years. Not one person went in there and said, Mike's racist, he's a danger, he needs to get out of here. Not once. I did a video in my kitchen. I wish I could split the screen and air it right here. Still on YouTube. I had to contact the investigator of HR complaints the other day to get a piece of paperwork. I don't trust the clowns at that office to get it to me. I said, I'm sorry to bother you. He has been very kind to me. When this accusation came out, read to me by HR, he was there. And he smiled and he said, well, you've heard it said, don't talk about the elephant in the room. And Mike, he talked about the elephant in the room. And the HR lady said, let's watch the video. Wow, talk about power. The administration of a major school district, many of them got to see 3 minutes of Michael Nelson, YouTube. I'm not a fan of a lot of Caucasian white women because of what I've been through. I would have every reason to say I'm anti-white. I was abused. I've been laughed at, mocked. White women have left some nasty, ugly comments on my channel to date. I'm being honest. The white women that have done me wrong have never, ever, ever, ever apologized, taken ownership for their abuse. Would I date a white woman? I would. I haven't dated in 8 years. But I watch the white women on my channel still play games. Many of them. Oh my gosh, I'd love to date you. I want to talk to you. I want to get to know you. Here's my Discord. Nothing. Or one would flirt. Many of them flirted. Then they send you an invite. You say, hey, how are you? A week goes by. I'm fine. Oh, wow. A whole week went by. Okay. What's the weather going like down where you're at? 2 weeks go by. Oh, it's cold. This is a waste of time. I'm sorry. Most women today have a relationship with their dog and their phone, and that's all they're content with. I'm a dinosaur. I want community. And I have a vicarious cyber community. I've made 2 good male friends and their wives. That's treasure enough. Yesterday I was so down, I called my one friend because I really wanted to pour my heart out. And it's not his fault. They work his fingers to the bone. He goes home, goes to sleep. And I laid in my bed. I said, man, I have nobody to go to but you. In the dark. And at one point I sat up Yeah, your bladder's going, hey, I have to pee. Leave me alone. I have to pee. I'm trying to sleep. I gotta pee. Oh. And I yelled in the dark. I said, how much do I got to go through, God? What are you trying to prove? What does you want to do? Break me, kill me, get it over with. Because this is ridiculous. End my life. End it. End it. I'd rather go to heaven than go through this bullshit. I don't want to live in a world that favors clowns. This guy I'm working with should have been fired day one with all this crap when he started it. And I am going to say something. When I see what goes on, when this group of people becomes a majority in a workplace anywhere, things go bad fast. In Augusta, their leadership is terrible. That's an observation, people. Calling me a racist doesn't answer the truth. You're not right in calling everybody a racist because we have pattern recognition skills. Favoring a people that are playing victim, that make national news on a regular basis with high profile rebelliousness against the cops. I'm tired of it. The CNN and all them were silent about that white woman from Indiana getting tore up in Cincinnati. That was criminal alone that the media was silent. A woman on CNN said a white shooter, a possible white suspect with winning the skyscraper in New York. No, it wasn't a white guy. They will not say African American, Muslim. They'll always say a white person. Have you noticed that about the media? That's objective reporting. We'll call out the race if it's white. If it isn't, we're going to be silent. Why do they do that? We should do a class action suit against the media like that. They're immune. Our media has done irreparable damage to this country. They've used their freedom of speech to lie, to character assassinate, to down us. They created the environment that allowed Tyler Robinson to shoot Charlie Kirk. People still calling him a hater. I got a guy right here on my channel that thinks he's terrible. And look, I don't ban him. I try to have an inroad with him. I'm not a danger to society. The truth that I believe is I'm not going to support Alex. I'm not going to support Renee. And people go to a bar and fights break out regularly and you keep going back. Don't cry to me when you get punched. Stay out of them places. I don't know why Americans think they have a right to stand in the way of law enforcement, federal people. Do you remember those same people called January 6th an insurrection? Do you remember Obama and Clinton and Trump, if you put their speeches about illegal side by side, said the same damn thing? They did that on YouTube years ago. Go look for it. Nobody fussed when Obama and Clinton said it. Biden let them all in. He must be listening to Wings. Someone's knocking at the door. Someone ringing a bell. Do me a favor. Open the door and let him in. Oh, yeah. He let him in. And the protesters are clowns. They're standing there yelling at the poop on the ground. Not the dog that it came out of. Stupid people. Women, if you think I've changed and you don't like my stance, get the hell off my channel. No loss. You're the problem. You're the reason this country continues to spiral. Your hatred towards Trump, your hatred towards truth. You know, I know that people in law enforcement make mistakes, but this stuff has been building and building and building with these clown protesters. You expect them to be perfect while these people can act imperfect, break laws about noise ordinances, assembling in the middle of a street, blocking traffic. You don't care about the laws when they break them all. You care about the law when somebody on the other side breaks it. That's called hypocrisy. Let's go to class and learn proper definition of terms. Racism is exactly what's going on in my job, where a black man can come and be rude and screw and fuck with me and heckle and jekyll me, and he waits until the boss isn't looking and does it again and again and again. And you as a leader won't put a stop to it. What are my options? You think I'm hireable here? I thought I was hireable. No, I'm not. This town is racist as fuck against us. The blacks have a stranglehold in Augusta. They don't like us. They don't give a shit about us. Not all of them, but the majority of them. That's the facts. Nothing but. I'm tired of all this grandstanding. I'm tired of all this victimhood. They are doing to us what they claimed we did to them. Black people, FYI, me talking about these issues does not a racist make. You hurling the comments you hurl at whites, the way you treat us, the way you disrespect us, shows exactly who and what you are. Racist as hell. When I worked in transportation, the worst employees are not in jeopardy of losing their job. Why is that? You shredded me when I was serving you and your people. Getting your buses, not only did I clean your seats, I swept up because I made a mess when I pulled seats apart. Sometimes even wiped your dash off, which had nothing to do with me. Fueled your bus, checked your fluids. Racist people don't do that. I wasn't told to do all that. I told myself I'm going to be a servant of the people. And I did it with pride. Because I would do it with pride with blacks, Hispanics, Asians, whoever I'm working for. Because that's the way I'm wired and geared. Augusta's a fucked up city. It's not a wellness place. It's not a well-adjusted place. They have Masters, and Masters puts an illusion on it. The cameras focus on that one tiny square-inch piece of real estate, not the 99% of the rest of it. People ask, why did you move here? Clearly, God led me here to get a MIC education. What he wants me to do with it, I don't know. If I had the healthy community I have, if I had the healthy community that I can only dream about, I probably wouldn't even be on YouTube. So there's two ways I can look at this. God's put me through the struggle because for some reason, even though I vowed years ago I want to get off the internet and have nothing to do with it, society won't let you do that. Your damn company got you in workplace email, all this crap. There are men and women that say your channel has helped. Well, thank God for that. Because I don't feel that I'm doing any good. I feel like, God, I feel like a bug that's been stepped on. Can you just put the other shoe on it and end the struggle? And you got these buttholes that'll get on the internet. Wow, seems like you got a problem everywhere you go. I'm sorry, this isn't Christ-like, but this is for you. You're not a Christian. Life doesn't do you that way. When you're the devil's camp, it all works for you. We're watching this in America. We're watching the devil have free reign. That these protesters, they actually believe in their mind they're doing right. They're not by this. And that's where we're at. We're at a point where we're just really shaking the foundations of our faith. The unrighteous are lauded as heroes. Clowns are getting statues. This doesn't support that. It seems like God has abdicated his throne, doesn't it? Where is he? Oh, to God! Why are you not seeing this? We might want to ask the same thing under the Führer. Don't you think people are going, God, how are you letting this Adolf Hitler run supreme like this? I don't know why God allows that. I will never be able to answer that question, except to say this. What kind of a God is he if he helicopter parents? What kind of a God is he when he just takes care of all of our boo-boos? Do we grow? Do we get strong? No, we don't. We want easy street. That's our human nature. We want to just earn all this money, retire, sit back. If you like pina colada. And God says no. He's preparing us for the marriage supper of the Lamb. He's preparing us for eternity. And this world is so pervasive that we lose sight of that. Marvel not that the world, my supervisor is not saved. Based on what I'm seeing with this guy I'm training, he says he reads this book. I don't believe he's a born-again Christian. He sat there and had a discussion with another employee saying, I don't need to go to church. We're having church right now. I said, no, we're not. This ain't church. The Bible says it is. I said, no, it doesn't. I said, it does say where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I'm in the midst of them. But that doesn't mean that's church. You can't even obey me and show me respect, and you're going to be an expert on this? Don't think so, cowboy. And I've noticed about this race, they got just enough of this in them, but the fruit, it ain't there. By their fruits you shall know them. Love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, patience, self-control. I'm not saying that with this guy. And that's how I have to arm my brain to deal with them. I got to go in today. I don't even want to deal with them. Just want to say, do me a favor. Don't talk to me today. If you have any questions, give them to Chris. He's acting out. He's trying to fuck with me. He's doing it on purpose. Just like the trolls. They're all the same. Do you notice that? They all operate the same. Jab, 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 jab. It's like that kid going, mommy, 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 mom, mommy, mommy. What? Why are you getting mad, mommy? That's what these protesters do. Poke, 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 poke. They shot us. What'd you expect, clowns? You want to be a clown? Join the circus. Get out of the streets. Get out of the neighborhoods. Get out of the public school system. They need to shut this media down. It is dangerous to our health. Look at who's in the media. I've never thought I'd say this, but there's one thing stupid about the Caucasian race. We know how to commit white suicide faster than any other ethnic group, and they're doing it. Like handing a toddler the keys to a Ferrari and saying, here you go, kid. Take it for a spin. White people handing the keys over to the people who haven't earned the right to be in the positions they're in. We reward people for going to college. Why are we rewarding people for getting brainwashed? Why do they get high positions? How does Ilhan Omar go from 175,000 years a politician to millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in her bank account? Somalia daycare fraud, how may I direct your call? We're sorry, we've closed down. All the money's been siphoned by Ilhan Omar. Have a nice day. You know what bothers me is I'm powerless to do a thing. Powerless. There's no representation for me. I have no voice against this onslaught of wickedness. I can make no difference in Washington. I'm holding on to a shitty job, and I have to watch what I say and watch how I conduct myself. He doesn't. Wow. Welcome to America 2026. It really is escalating. It really is getting worse. Doesn't matter that Trump's in office. The cost of living has gone up, not down. Workplace violations abound against those that are working. I'm going to cite E-Rock. E-Rock's taking a lot of bullshit at his job. He and I are wired the same. He's younger than me. He says, I cannot see myself at your age, Mike, doing what I'm doing. And he's got to bend steel plating using his body because the machine won't do it all the way. I couldn't do that. He tells me the black guys show up late. They'll walk into the break room, fix their breakfast, do the same thing here. The guy I worked with in transportation did the same thing. Show up a half an hour late, go in the break room, heat up his mush and push, eat, go out and smoke, get his clothes on. An hour later, we're going to patch a bus seat. Now they got a black woman down there. They told me. I know who she is. I said, people are saying the pump area is dirty. Stuff ain't getting done. Why is there all this hatred towards us whites? Why are we being dogged? When I was down there single-handedly, I kept on top of all these different things. And I had it in my heart, I want to get all these buses caught up. They've been let go too far. There's too many that are wrecked. And then I got a white supervisor saying, you can't take that bus. Did you hear what the black leadership, the second in command said? No bus will leave this yard with metal where you can feel it through the seat material. Well, I understand that, but so you take place, you take precedence because you're lazy and you sit in a company-paid truck. I'm paying tax dollars. My house property tax went up to pay for your ass to sit in an $80,000 new truck to idle the engine for 4 hours and get irritated when I ask you a work-related question. Welcome to America today, where you are punished for being a good employee, where you are treated like shit because you're privileged, you're white. That is exactly what is happening. Do you think I give a crap about some dumb flies that eat poop get on my channel and leave comments about what I'm wearing? Do you ever factor in psychology here that I haven't, that most people could not do what I do? My own son even told I could not live where you live. Now he's talking like one of the hood people. Why don't you sell that crib? Why don't you not tell me what to do, son? Why don't you move out of mommy's house and become a man like I did instead of commenting on my clothing? Yeah, I said that. He's an adult now. He got on my channel, left a shitty comment, so I'm going to say that. I'm tired of this world. I'm tired of the disrespect. I tried to do everything right. Where did that get me? An ex-wife who still shit talks me to this day. I didn't dress like this. I did everything I could to serve and please her as best I could. I chose to leave the marriage because after 14 years, I couldn't do it anymore. She's demonized me to the world. She doesn't tell the truth. She doesn't admit what she did to lead me to make that decision. Women generally don't. And I would have every reason to have prejudice and racism against white women, but I don't. I don't. I try to give everybody a chance until they prove otherwise. Because of what I've been through, I've entertained some sinful thoughts. I have. You think I don't want to be hugged and loved on, doted over? I got to come home from a day at that. And the supervisor is saying, I'm going to pull you in on a Saturday. I'm like, over my dead body. No, you're not. And I didn't say that. I was told by somebody that he's going to make you come in on. Tomorrow's going to be shitty weather. I've dealt with enough. I've dealt with your ineptitude. I've dealt with this heckle and jekyll bullshit at the pack table. No, I've got shit I need to do. I only got 2 days to do it, and 5 days of my life are invested. I'm so exhausted, I go to bed early. I wish I could stay up till 10:30, 11. But no, this job wears the shit out of me. And I'm asking myself over and over, why am I busting my ass so hard? Because that's the way God made me. God said, don't do things with eye service. Do things as unto the Lord. I know my language is foul. I have lust. I struggle. I put myself out here. And you know what? Being real, being genuine is you're going to get punished for that. One of the owners goes into the office. Hi, Mike. He doesn't deal with any of this. No one's going to come and talk to him that way. And when I come to people, they're always telling me how I should change myself to learn how to deal with something. Okay, I understand fragile people need that advice, but this guy is harassing me, haranguing, baiting, not following directives. That cannot be fixed. The way to fix that is to say, you're fired. Get out. I don't need you harassing my best employee. That's not okay. Why are we rewarding people for behavior like that? Why are companies showing preferential treatment to DEI hire when they're not qualified? We heard about the air traffic controllers and all these plane crashes. I wouldn't do an air traffic control job. I make mistakes. That is not a job for Michael. Who came out and mandated that you will hire races over qualification? I'm going to say it again. The company I work for is not successful because of this other race. That iPhone or that Android you're holding wasn't invented by that race. Most of what we have in our society wasn't made by you. And it was whites that delivered you from slavery. It was whites that gave affirmative action. So all the crap that's talked about our race has also done a lot of damn good things. And if our race is pushed over the cliff, God help this world. Because if white people are out of here, this world's going to explode into a cauldron of hate. That I will say. Yeah, sometimes white males can be buttholes. White women can be entitled. But I do know there's enough element in white race that has kept a lot of evil from taking over this globe. We stopped Japan and we stopped Germany. Praise God for that. These other people from other nations want to attack the trade towers, wear a backpack bomb, show up at a protest with a gun and 2 clips, 2 rounds. Did you see his violent rhetoric? Democrats think that they can do whatever they want, and they ignore all the rules about decency, respect. grown man being rude. I said, you are being rude. I'm not being rude. You are. The way you're talking to me, the way you throw these at me, I asked you, could you please give them to me? No, I'm going to put them over. You got to go right by me to go help this guy, and you're going to walk out of the way. You're being a butthole. I didn't say that. You are deliberately being a rude person. You don't say please. You don't say thank you. You come up. You got to do this. You need to do this. I need you to do. You're not the boss. You don't need me to do nothing. I need you to get it straight. I'm tired of competing against fucking egos. So let's enable that. I hope my supervisor's ready for the fun that's going to bring him. If he's here in 3 months, I'll be shocked. I don't like him. And I'm so tired of Christians. Well, you need to love. Shut up. Just because you tell me that doesn't mean it just, flipped on a bridge. Oh, I love you. It ain't like that. You know, it's tough because the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Really? It seems like I am with that guy. Michael. What he fails to realize is the devil is using him because he is not a child of the king. Why is it I have to educate myself to the facts and try to invent a way of getting through this, and none of them have to have any self-awareness? Do you notice that? The Democrats don't have to have any self-awareness at all. They can block a public street. They can disturb a residential neighborhood. Now you got Bruce Springsteen singing this stupid song in favor of the protesters. His music sucked back then, and now he's trying to make a comeback on this. The guy from West Virginia that sang the song, Richmond, north of Richmond, that was well done. They're not playing that. The left doesn't like that song. We're bullshit hours for bullshit pay. Oh my gosh, is that the truth? But if you're black, if you're lesbian, if you're gay, you get the fast track to success. The hell? I saw it in transportation. The gay guys, they violate the rules all day, and everybody, hey, how you doing? I'm good. La, 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 la. Life's just a victory parade for them. I'm not making this up. A man says to Sally, you have a nice outfit today, and he's called into the HR office. But a school teacher can have an anal sex tryst in the teacher's office with the guy driving a bus at transportation. He told me all about it. I said, how did you not get caught? He said when he was underage, he rode with his dad, who was a truck driver. And when his dad would go to sleep, he'd sneak out and hop in other trucks with grown men. Yeah. Why do those guys, and he's got fingernails this long. The fake ones. Spent $800 for Michael Kors bag. It just amazes me. They're saying my race is privilege. I want to know how I'm privileged. I haven't experienced it once in Augusta or anywhere. You work hard, you get fired. You're told to train a guy, and now I'm being the one that's getting, I'm being told that I got to figure out a way to make this work. Well, then make me the boss and I'll solve the problem. Dude, based on the way you've been talking to me, you're done. Goodbye. You cannot, you're not part of the stream here. It's stupid, folks. It's stupid. Our freedom of speech is censored. Here's a classic example. I'm not here to beat up my regulars, but look at the amount of likes on this. Look at the amount of views. Now you have a black woman talking about conservative issues, 51,000 views, thousands and thousands of hearts. Or you have a white woman that's on here who's wearing this and being dumb, 100,000 subs. You think that I haven't seen the psychology of the internet? It's a good barometer of where our culture's at. They like vanity. They like superficiality. And if you're a halfway cute woman, you don't have to have any talent. You don't have to have anything. And women that wake up in their bed, laying on their pillow, staring at the camera. Hi, guys. It's amazing how much they can just do and get away with. I wear this, and man, do the comments fly. The toilet seat guy, 750,000 subs. I don't hate him. I'm not showing hatred, but I mean, he doesn't talk about spirituality. He doesn't talk about anything of any substance. The Cry and the Ewu debacle. She's still going on. And I'm going to refrain from saying what comes to mind. That whole thing is ridiculous that gets all the views, all the likes. Everything is like high school. You remember what happened in high school? Every year they vote in the same class president, the same queen, the popular kids. And the adult life is the same way. The BITCH with the attitude. Everybody thinks she's hot. Everybody thinks she's cute. She has no talent. She has no skill. She's got a pair of breasts. That's it. I struggle to get to 10,000 subs. You know, the other day I actually thought about just crashing this channel and deleting the whole thing. In fact, I'm still thinking about just walking away from it, saying, what's the point? Why am I doing this? Nobody cares. At the end of the day, most of society doesn't care. People are getting rich off nothing. Benny Johnson is in Trump's right-hand pocket. His channel just blows up. He's got money pouring out of his butt cheeks. He doesn't have to work in a warehouse. He doesn't have to be. Somebody trolled him. The FBI arrested him. Do they do that when it happens to me? Even Trump's buddies got privilege I don't got. I'm going to say it. Our society is a caste system. Benny's even got a neon sign made in the outline of his face. He got little icons. It's like, really? I don't listen to him anymore. And I learned. Society's teaching me. Nobody wants honesty. Nobody wants vulnerability. I'm a dinosaur. It's time for me to go extinct.